Hi there, my name is Beck, and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So I've been doing these ongoing guides to Big Finish for people who are unfamiliar with Big Finish, but like Doctor Who, because the trouble is, Big Finish just makes too much stuff. It's like a wall of content you cannot break through. I was lucky; I've been buying them from the beginning, so yeah, I went through it. It's much easier going the long way around than coming in new. So I really was banging my head against what I was going to do about the non-Doctor Who releases, because there are so many of them and they're so disparate. So I was trying to work out how I could possibly put them together, how many different video guides I would need to do them. And I still haven't really quite worked out. But while I was looking through the website, musing away, I was going through Dalek Empire, and I just remembered what a fantastic series it is. It's really a truly fantastic series. It's a fantastic series. I think it's a classic. I think it's a must-listen to release from Big Finish. And actually, I think it's a pretty good jumping in point if you haven't tried Big Finish before. It's really that good. And they're all up, well, I'd say they're all on sale. They're all so cheap. It's $2.99 for an episode. It means you get an entire season for, was it $12 or £12, depending where you are. If you want $12, get yourself a VPN. That will do the trick. Yeah, and then you say your computer's a bit bigger that you're in America, but don't defraud Big Finish. That's not a nice thing to do. But really, it's an absolutely fantastic series of series, and so I thought again we'll do a much more in-depth review of them, because really they're genuinely worth both your time and money. If you haven't heard them, they're really, really, really great. So fine. But before we get in there, can I ask you guys, can you hit the subscribe button? That would be fantastic. Thank you very much. I am very, very grateful for all of you who do that. I'm all just grateful for you guys just turning up and watching these videos. Go to the video notes. You'll see a download link for Just DREDD radio play or audio play made by Big Finish, but you can't get them anymore. They're out of print and their license has expired, I think, so you can't legally buy them. So if you download, enjoy it, help yourself. But I would say just on an ethical note, if you download it, you listen to it, you like it, and if Big Finish ever gets a license back, which they're not gonna do, but if they ever do, then go over to bigfinish.com and buy yourself a copy. It's probably gonna be like $2.99. It's so worth it. Also, if you subscribe to my channel, you are eligible to enter any of my weekly competitions. This week, actually, I've had a whole new seam of stuff to give away. I was doing the DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. Then I remembered I got a bunch of Just DREDD stuff to give away. So first one is this fantastic hardback graphic novel. How many pages is it? It's a pretty big one. Do they number the pages? No, they don't. This, I would say, 100, 200 page book. Called MECHANISMO. This is a real classic Just DREDD story. It's a great jumping on point for anyone who's never got into Just DREDD before. All you got to do to win it is subscribe to the channel, and then in the comments leave the hashtag I am the law, because indeed Just DREDD is the law. Fine. So let's start talking about Dalek Empire. So I'm going to throw these up here. Firstly, I just want to look at the covers for the first season, Dalek Empire. They just call it Dalek Empire. They didn't know there's going to be a Dalek Empire 2 or 3. Yeah, Dalek Empire 1, we'll call it. The covers are absolutely fantastic, and the covers really reflect exactly what the series is. It's, imagine you take all the fun Dalek-y sci-fi stuff from 1960s Dalek Annual, where it had all it was all kind of new and exploding, and then you put it into a contemporary, I'll say this is in the early 2000s, a contemporary-ish drama with contemporary drama sensibilities. So you get both, and it really, really does work. It really works well, and again, you can tell from the album covers, and you can even tell by the episode's name that they're straddling both worlds. They're straddling that incredible, Dalek-y world that we saw. That we only saw in the annuals and modern drama. So this was before the Doctor Who returned in 2005. So nobody had seen or heard contemporary Daleks at the time, and I think a lot of the takes on the Daleks, at least in Russell T Davies era, come directly from these. I can't remember though if they introduced the sound effects or the whirring of the ice stalk and the and the gun and the sucker. I think that was an innovation of the TV show, and you really notice it. You really now with our modern ears, you really notice it not being there. But other than that, these are just absolutely fantastic, a fantastic series with with fantastic drama. So what's it about? That's really that's really what we're going to do. What's it about? It starts off with it starts off with a very like low level eye view of what a Dalek invasion is. They're people living a nice life, on a planet, on a colony. Well, suddenly, boom, a gazillion Daleks show up, and they invade, and they become slaves of the Daleks. And again, you get a very low, a street level view of what it's like to be in an invasion of Daleks and to survive an invasion of Daleks and become a slave of the Daleks. So you got a bunch of interesting characters. The Doctor doesn't appear in these releases at all. It stars was it Sarah Mowat as Susan Mendez, and every time I say it, I just hear the Dalek voice of it in my head, Susan Mendez. And Susan Mendez ends up being it starts off as a very ordinary character, and she ends up becoming a character of galactic importance, and a really important figurehead for humans within Dalek occupation. And as a human, she has a 3-dimensional life with it has it has relationships, and the relationships are done in a like a modern and a realistic way. There's a bursting romance that she has with this guy called Albie Brooke, who turns out later to be a lot more than he initially appeared to be. But you can see that this wasn't an afterthought, something that was written into character from the beginning. And the third main character of this is Gareth Thomas. The late Gareth Thomas, who you probably know from playing Blake from Blake 7, playing Kalendorf, a Knight of Valicia. Now, the Knights of Valicia, I think we first saw them in Revelation of Daleks, the Colin Baker story, where you had was it William Gaunt? Yeah, William Gaunt was this retired Knight of Valicia. So the Knights of Valicia are like this kind of like the Doctor Who version of Jedi's, but a bit darker. They're not quite as good as Jedi's. They have telepathic powers, and they're initially kind of the bad guys, which is an interesting way they turn things around in these stories. So the first season, the stories are called Dalek Empire, Invasion of the Daleks, which again is very gives you that feeling of the 1960s Daleks. The second story is called The Human Factor, and I can't wait for you guys to hear these because the Human Factor harkens back to what's not Power of the Daleks, Evil of the Daleks, but it's really an apt title for that episode because it gets into like the Daleks and humanity as two blocks of beings meeting each other and trying to understand each other, which is whilst in the middle of occupation. The third episode is called Death of the Daleks. It concerns again really harkening back to classic Daleks. I want to leave this as spoiler free as possible. You can just see in the cover, this Dalek eye stalk, and then you can see if you look closely, Gareth Thomas' face as is reflected in there. And the final episode is called Project Infinity, and it takes you to where this series is going. And it currently could have ended there, and it would have been absolutely fine. But it did very well. It did very well because it was very good. Again, it's the whole thing is written by Nick Briggs, and Nick Briggs is a pretty solid writer. He's very good at war stories and at Dalek stories, and so you're hitting all his bases. But also, I would say Nick always tries to do something a little bit different and interesting. Gives you something to think about at the same time as giving you like these these really enjoyable adventures, which they are. So that was the first series, and the second series follows on. Is pretty much a direct sequel. It has the same characters, different color, a cover design. They got rid of the individual chapters. This is called Dalek Empire 2, Dalek War, and it takes you to an interesting spot at the end at the end of the first season. And we get somewhat into parallel universe Daleks, and that becomes a major factor in the second series. And again, it's $12 for the entire series, and it's just so good. It's just so good. And again, it's got exactly the same characters, and we're in Yeah, they're in the same setting, but at the end of it's pretty much a conclusion. It again, I don't want to spoil what happens, but it takes you like thousands of years in a direction that you weren't expecting to go, and it kind of gives you a conclusion. But at the same time, it gives you a framework where they can tell a lot more stories in. So the third series, which I actually think is the weakest, maybe because it's the longest. The other three series of them have been 4 part. This is a 6 part series, and it's a kind of like a semi sequel. You have some of the same characters from Dalek Empire 1 and 2, but they're in a different role, and it's the setting is completely different. But all the way through this, yeah, especially this series. Oh, by the way, I think this is a series where they bring in Varga plants, and it's so cool. Oh, it's so freaking cool. But this is a series where the Daleks are really kind of clever and manipulative, and they have like a plan, and yeah, which I think is something that was sort of lost with the introduction of Davros on the TV Daleks, which this one really introduced. But again, yeah, and again, I think this really set up what Daleks were. When if you only know Daleks from the new series, this is where they were really set up from. But at the same time, it's so organic and connects so perfectly to the classic series Daleks as well. This one also has William Gorton in. I think. Oh, and yeah, was it Dalek Empire 3 has David Tennant as a star, as kind of a superhero type undercover agent. All these things are like war stories. They're told in the midst of a Dalek war. So you get all this like real daring do and like high stakes adventure. And then the final series it goes back much more to the setting. It's about I think about 10, 20 years after the initial Dalek War, Dalek War 2, and this one stars Noel Clarke. Noel Clarke. Not Noel Clarke. In this is I don't really I playing Mickey or Ricky, depending which one you were. He never liked playing like cowards. He never liked playing like wimpy guys. And this is much more the mold that something he wants to. So he's much more of like an action figure in this, like an action figure, action hero in this. He starts off from a primitive planet, and he's recruited into a new elite special anti-Dalek force. And again, just lots of really great sci-fi action going throughout it. Maureen O'Brien, who was known from Doctor Who for playing Vicky, is also in it as a general. Sarah Moa is in all these series, but again, her role is very, very different in Dalek Empire. In Dalek, but no, Dalek Empire 4. She's back to being the. I don't want to call her a resistance leader, because that's not really who she is, but she kind of is. But again, fantastic series. You know what? I would say imagine Tenko meets Doctor Who. And that's what you get with Dalek Empire, if you remember Tenko, or any great, really good war drama that goes into the reality of being in war, like Empire of the Sun, Christian Bale movie when he was a kid, like something that has like you get the feeling of the reality of war, as also the heroism of war and the high stakes of war. Plus, you get Daleks flying around, being Daleks. So in all this setting, so you have similar characters, similar settings. In all this settings, you never see the Doctor apart from one time in one very special release, which is where we're going to end up with, which is this one, The Return of the Daleks, where Smith McCoy's Doctor is suddenly placed down right in the middle of the storyline with Kalendorf, Gareth Thomas, and Sarah Mowat, Susan Mendez. I think this makes a nice cap to the entire series. They should really just sell this whole thing as a box set. The entire 4 seasons of Dalek Empire, and this will be an awesome Christmas present. I mean, it means doing another pressing of them, but I get, as I said, I would just really recommend buying them, or you can only get them downloaded, and it's so worth it. They're so worth it. If I've been coy about this is a strong recommend. This is an extremely strong recommend. I really genuinely hope you try it out. They're just fantastic. And these are about 10, 15 years old. They're such a forgotten classic. They really are. They're such a genuinely forgotten classic. Try out one episode. Yeah, it's $3. Try out one episode. If you like it, keep going. And I can almost guarantee you, you will, because it's really that good. My name is Sheila Becken, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.